now, guys. We're gonna go check out a fish store because I wanted to see what other glass tanks they have. Also want to find some under gravel filters. The ones on Amazon don't seem the best, but we'll see if they have some stock in stores. So we could go with one of these. Do like the Sephora line. I could also get another Aquatop. I already got one of these. I was thinking of getting two. Or we go smaller. Decisions. 12 gallon, 17 gallon. They even got this big boy. It's a 40 gallon. I would definitely want one of these on a stand. Oh, these are nice. They already pre-attached it to a piece of slate. This would look perfect at like the Marineland 5 gallon, the tall ones. Let's put one of these on there. So we got these. Sephora as well. This 40 gallon looks really nice. 600 for this whole set, not bad. 20 gallon. Oh, this Aquatop is on sale.
As always, more unboxings. Just the name of the game right now is we're trying to set up this fish room. So let's just get right into it. Also, if you see some of these packages magically disappear, open them, realize it's not really relevant for the channel, and yeah, just cut it out. First thing, got some rollers. We're gonna use this to do some of the backings for the tanks. Another thing for the Python water changer. Also something for the Python water changer. It's actually similar to the light that's lighting us right now. I just needed a second. It's also perfect because we have recycling tomorrow. Might as well knock out some of these boxes. And I think I have an idea of what this is. I'm gonna record this one separately. So that was kind of anticlimactic. Let me make a run through the house just to make sure there aren't other packages. Time to unbox this bad boy. Guys kind of look a little crooked. Hold on, let me fix you. This is an Aquatop 12 gallon. So my local fish store has one of these set up in store, and after looking at it, I just had to get one. This is what's included. Moderate packaging. Doesn't concern me since I got this from my local fish store. You can see how thick this glass is. Really high quality. You don't see any seams of silicone. This beats the Aquatop frameless kit by a landslide. Here is the reveal. That was sketchy. Ooh, and it comes with a pad, which is amazing. Put this right here. Ooh, look at this beauty. Got the Aquatop branding right there. Beveled edges. You could see a little bit of iron on it. There is a slight blue tinge, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers. But what I really love about this is the dimension. So this is a 12 gallon tank, but you can see it's stretched and it's very shallow. So it creates a lot of surface area. I'm excited to set this up. Oh, let's move this to the side. little bit overkill for the size of this shelf. This piece of plywood did start to bow a little bit because I didn't put weight on it as it dried. But hopefully once we got water in here, it'll flatten this out. Quick thing I wanted to show. Same day delivery by Petco, hand delivered to the house. I got more racks. Racks to replace what we actually built, which is kind of cringe. But I'll tell you why. As soon as we install these up there, oh my god, the water is wet. I mean, the box is wet. Yeah, that's great. Hope it's not water damaged. Looks like there's a little bit of damage in here. Doesn't matter, because we're not even gonna really use these. Look at that. Comes with this, or this. I will do the glamour shots. Got a little bit of damaged packaging, but all good as long as one side is good. It's not like we're gonna see this from one. And we'll probably swap these out for plywood. Now, I know you may be wondering, Harry, why the hell do you need another set of racks when you have these three? After filling these tanks with water, I saw that there was that bow as you guys saw in that other clip. And I'm hoping that this actually avoids and solves that issue. This rack I got right off of Amazon. Not only is it white, which also aesthetically I'm actually kind of happier with, but aside from the color, the other reason is because of these bad boys. They have these things which are supportive brackets. I think they call it their Z system. You put these horizontally to the shelves to create additional support midway through the rack. So the dimensions on here, they're similar to these racks in the sense that they are 48 inches wide, but these are a little bit more shallower. So this rack is about 2 feet in depth, so from here to the back. And for these, I believe it's about 16 to 18 inches in terms of depth. So you could see this bracket is a good depiction of the depth versus these much wider racks. That's one thing that I'm gonna probably regret, but we're gonna give these a shot. These racks were super cheap from Costco, and of course I do actually need storage in my basement anyway to house all the tools that I racked up during the renovation. So these racks won't go without a use. And I will continue to use these pieces of plywood that we put so much effort in. I'm just gonna have to run them through my table saw, take off a couple inches on the back. I looked at a lot of the reviews and it looked very promising. So I actually bought 3. Can you believe that? 3 racks. I'll be able to put one here, one here. Also, I'm gonna be replacing this rack. We could probably go to here. See, no banging necessary. Look at that. They even supplied this thing, but I don't even need it. Wow, so far, way easier than those damn things. There's a couple configurations on the shelving that you can do. One configuration is this. It's placed within a wall. So if you need something to catch and prevent things from rolling over your shelf, you have this option. What's super cool is that, let me take this away. Another option, Man, I love how easily adjustable these are. So you could actually flip this. And let me take this board again. Let's use the white side. But you could do this. And the thought of that is, say this is a can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup. You essentially can keep your cans rolled up like that. So they go like that, blah, blah, blah. This isn't sponsored, but we're Co-op Easy Green. Everything continues to roll down. You keep everything that you need in the front, right? Assuming this is the front. One other thing is I'm taking them in and out, and you can see there's no chipping of the paint, so the powder coating on these things is pretty good. I was scared that you would expose the metal at some point. That is not the case. So this is likely the configuration I'm gonna use for this top shelf. You essentially have something that lays directly on top. This also came with some of these plastic thingamabobbers, but what these are is a piece of padding to close your terminals, I guess, is what you could call it. Let's see. And of course, we'll probably use plywood instead, just to make this whole system stronger. Okay, so I walked through 3 options. There's actually a 4th one that I didn't realize. Let me show you on the bottom one. Three tall walls, and then the front facing wall is down, which essentially means you get a basket of sorts, right? So you get protection from falling back there, back here, but you don't have any impedance from this front one. So this is what I'm gonna probably have to do for all of my shelves to create the most stability. These both go under, and then you squeeze that in there, squeeze this top one, and that is essentially what we're doing. For demonstration purposes, put that in the middle. You now have that support. Bada bing, bada boom. That's it. One cool thing about these shelves is that these are way longer than what we had over there. These connecting clips on those shelves were probably just about 1 centimeter on this side and then another centimeter to connect the other side. So, not too bad. Since I put you through the torture of setting up those 3 racks, we're just gonna cut to the chase this time, and I'll bring you back to when these are replaced. Of course, we gotta use my favorite transition. Here we go. 3 racks, pretty much 3 of the same racks, and I just love the continuity now. These are a little bit more shallow, as I mentioned, so there's not really much wiggle room in terms of the front and back. But the benefit now is that the edges of these tanks are now closer to the actual shelving around the perimeter. Cool thing about these racks, they come with clips, so you could connect the racks together. So I'm gonna be using these Z-beams, and right now I only have 2. If I do decide to go with 3 aquariums up top, I will add a 3rd one here. 5 Z-beams come per rack, so I actually have 15 in total to play around with and see how I want to distribute amongst the different shelves. I think the main step now is dealing with these. It's about 12 o'clock, have an hour lunch break. Figured I could use this time to cut the plywood that I originally had for the older shelves and fit the dimension for these newer shelves. The bad boy we will be using is this table saw. Never forget your protection. It pains me to waste this much wood. That's what happens when you don't plan or you switch up your plan midway. Before I rip the other 7 pieces, let's go test fit this and make sure that my measurements were good. And this is why we test fit. We're a smidgen too big, but it's better that I do this now before finding out after cutting all of the other 8, so. For some reason, it fits fine on these, but it doesn't fit up here. Maybe I had to push them a little bit further, give it a little bit of elbow grease, but these are the ones that are actually gonna hold the tank, so probably care more about this. Shouldn't have doubted my measuring skills and cutting skills. Looks like we are good to go with ripping the rest of them. Now that we have the plywoods all cut up, I want to test out whether or not this shelf plus 3 of the beams plus the plywood will enable all of this to be filled with water and 0 sagging. That will help determine the layout of some of these tanks. Filled up all 3, side tangent. You could see the clearly bluish hue that's happening here. That's the name of the game. Again, a really budget product. There's a lot of iron in the glass, which I don't think would be the case for this Aquatop. When this is filled, it'll be relatively clear, or at least not blue to this extent. Anyway, that's besides the point. These are gonna be used for breeding. No worries there. I filled all 3. Goal is to really see how much sagging would happen. Honestly, pretty minimal. You see there is definitely a bit of gradual sagging. Now, am I saying is it as good as when we used those? I don't know, maybe it's just the placebo in me or the bias in me of wanting it to work out with these racks. Manufacturers did mention that when you use 3 of these Z-beams, the weight rating goes up to 1,000, and this is well under 1,000. So I don't doubt that at all. It is nighttime now. Between dinner, work, this is where I landed on. Still looks like a tornado flew around my room before you came. Excuse the mess I made. This is now designated as the breeding rack. And I'm comfortable with having 3 on each because I'm actually gonna put 4 of these bad boys. Hopefully that helps. Did it over there as well. Interesting thing is this is definitely a supporting wall. Why do we know that? Because we were thinking about removing a chunk of this wall to create open concept on this unit. Couldn't do it because the architect said this was supporting. Since this wall is supporting, that means the joists run perpendicular this way. Supporting wall has to be perpendicular to the joists. This rack can theoretically hold more weight because there are joists every 16 inch on center that are supporting this rack this way again, right? On top of that, that's an external wall. So that's outside, where the joist adjoined to that wall is also a very strong point. This can handle a lot of weight. These two racks, on the other hand, not as much relative to that one. Because the joists run this way, that means there's effectively maybe 2 joists, if that are supporting the bulk of this weight. That should be fine because this is gonna be for some of my decorative tanks, 5-gallon tanks that you've come to know and love. We got the marine land, we got the fluval. I may add another marine land here because I have extra. And we have this new bad boy, which I'll dedicate a separate video to. Here, I'm still not too sure what I want to do on these bottom 2, but I know I want this Aquatop up here. If I ever do have space, I'll have an aquascaped tank here on its own stand. One last change that I didn't bother recording is I ended up painting the side walls depending on the placement of the tank. Basically painted this wall, painted this wall, painted this, painted that, and it'll look like one cohesive tank in a way. So let's put them up here. Airline tubing, adapters, connectors, control valves, all for the sponge filtration. For the breeder rack, we are gonna go completely sponge filtration. Second part to the sponge filtration equation is the pump. So I bought this from Higer. I know Higer does a couple sponsorships, sends free items here and there. They've reached out to me, and there may be free items that come across this channel, which I'll be transparent about, but I did purchase this one with my own money. I think it's your standard diaphragm air pump, rated to up to 150-gallon aquariums, so it should be more than enough for the breeding tank. I was debating whether or not to get a linear piston pump, but nothing stood out to me quite yet, and honestly, I don't know if my room is big enough to constitute that purchase. So for now, this will do. And as always, I will link everything down in the description. A bunch of fishing wire. Got these clamps, more so for maintenance and other uses. You essentially put this in here to prevent shrimplets or any other things from being sucked through the intake. But I'm actually not using this for a filter. I'm using it for this thing. So after doing a little bit of research, people have stated that this is a perfect fit for this to elongate the tube. So that's the reason why we got this. So this is stainless steel wire mesh. The reason I got this is also for the breeder tanks. And this is to start growing Java moss. Sponge filters. So this is what I am going to be using for filtration on the breeder tank. The reason why I like these are because you've got a huge amount of surface area. It's a finer sponge compared to what you see in Aquarium Co-op, but I like these because these attach to the wall. They are black, so they blend in a little bit better as opposed to that green from Aquarium Co-op. The reason I keep bringing up the Aquarium Co-op is because I actually have some. So I was debating whether or not to use these or these. I'm gonna go with these. I think Aquarium Co-op updated their filters to have sort of a tube that can divert the airflow and create a little bit more flow in the tank as opposed to bubbles just going straight up. I bought these way back when that wasn't even a thing. These also accomplish the same thing, so I could mount these onto the wall, increase this, could make sure that this is at the surface of the water. My guess is that it will help a little bit with sound as well. With a fully air system, the biggest or loudest noise, more often than not, isn't the pump itself, because a lot of companies are going for super quiet pumps. What tends to create most of the noise, and this is important because we have a YouTube channel, audio is something we have to consider, but more often than not, it's the actual sponge filter and the bubbles breaking the surface of the water that creates most of the noise. So hopefully this would address that and also create some flow. So that was a little spiel that you didn't ask for. You could plop these bad boys on, and then you could mount these to the wall. A little bit on the airline tubing. This super high quality, flexible airline tubing, which is what I'm looking for. And it comes with a whole bunch of gang valves, split valves, T-valves. Short king problems. Short king solutions. Alright, let's see what this pump is made of with a quick unboxing. Comes with some airline tubing, not that much, but enough to get you started. It is a higher quality tubing, a lot more flexible, less likely to kink. Manual that no one reads. Comes with a safety valve, or two safety valves it looks like, as well as two standard air stones. Now onto the actual beast. Nothing in the box before we chuck this away. It is pretty big. The feet of it are suction cups, but I guess there's some sort of vibration reduction thought process with that. These are the two outputs. Cord itself has no ground, for whatever that's worth. You can see this is the control knob. So it's a relatively simple system. You have your outputs and the knob, and that's pretty much it. You can read that. It has a plus or minus. Spinning clockwise increases the flow, or output rather. Spinning counterclockwise decreases that. There is no mark to assume at what point you are on the scale, so it looks like you just need to spin it and play it by ear.
We're gonna use this inert substrate. Some of you may have found my channel through this, but this is black diamond blasting sand. I have a few videos on this. You can get this at a Tractor Supply. Super cheap, it's inert, it's safe. I've used it, and now I could say I've used it for years with no issue. My go-to for black substrate. Gave it a quick rinse. We just need a very thin layer, and you can see that's what we're trying to do here. I gotta do the same for the rest of them. So one thing I forgot to do, and then we need to do a quick trip for, is we need an air manifold of some sort. So we have the pump right there, but we need a way to let it draw air into all 6 of these tanks in an efficient way. I'm thinking a PVC loop. Black diamond blasting sand. Seeing all that dust, it's a good thing to do this outside. Let's go. Let's go. Of dirt with the black diamond blasting sand, so it's good to give it a rinse. I'll probably do this one more time. Feet. So we got the 4 here. We'll give this a shot without having to use any PVC cement, but if we do see any leakage, then we bought the cement. And this is what we got. We're gonna place it right here. So we're gonna be using these gang valves, Ziz Aqua. We want it to be a friction fit, so the drill has to be slightly smaller than the tip. We're gonna try 3/16. So a little bit less, hopefully we'll be able to squeeze it in. Just like Dean's fish room, we're gonna use some tape over here. So we need 3 within this section, right here, and then we'll do one right here. Dean mentioned to do a test on a separate PVC, but I left them all downstairs, so we're just gonna try this. This wouldn't be the first fail on this channel so far. Please tell me this wasn't too big. Oh no, this is good. We'll be able to squeeze these in. Perfect. We're halfway there. Let's now do the bottom. forgot to drill one more hole, and that is to add the airline tubing into here. This at a slant. Got these off Amazon. Again, I'll always link down everything I can in the description. Thank you guys for typing. These are nice and long. And this is essentially how we're gonna hang this. Lots and lots of zip ties. Only time will tell if I actually have to cement at least these two seams, because the weight of this loop is now being carried by this upper length or upper run. Boom. And we had only this to spare, but everything should be connected. Starting up the water. We filled all 6 of the tanks with water to the same level. I put some tape as well, see if there's any leaks that we don't see. But other than that, substrate is in, tanks are painted, filters are in, air pump is connected to all the filters, and now we have the long-awaited last step, which is to turn on that air pump. So let's do it. Looks like we did it correctly. I would say all in all, this rack hits all the check marks for me. It's white, it's aesthetic. And you can see, I think adding 4 braces was a good call. You see minimal droopage. It's able to sustain 3 14-gallon tanks. So that's about 28 plus 14, 42. 42 gallons up top, 42 gallons on the bottom. Now comes the part where we just have to wait, let the cycles begin. We use new everything, so we use new filters, new substrate. There really isn't any beneficial bacteria established here, but I think I have a few tricks up my sleeve to hasten the cycling process, but we'll get to that another day. That's pretty much it. I'll check in with you guys later.